I truly believe this little habit that I have implemented the last decade, that's why I've continued to move forward, because I'm just so intentional about my life. I don't just randomly live it. And every yes, there's a reason I say yes, and every no, there's a reason I say no. And it's just crystallizing that for sure. And that's how I am successful. I mean, for sure. And being okay with saying no. That's huge for being successful.
Welcome my guest, Emily Vavra. Emily is a female entrepreneur who had the dream and went for it. She is a LA-based wellness leader and speaker that has been an entrepreneur since 2010 and has helped thousands of other entrepreneurs build their own health, wealth, and financial freedom. Emily is a global traveler speaking in field arenas on business topics, mindset issues, motivational stories, and much more. Her ability to connect with audiences on various issues, from simple tips of productivity to lifestyle tips, is largely due to her authenticity. She's a true hard work pays off story that resonates, raising the frequency of whoever is listening. Emily is named Yahoo's top 10 entrepreneurs to follow in 2020 and has been recently featured in Good Morning America, NBC, KTLA, Life and Style Magazine, Thrive Global, Forbes, and more. Emily, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to sit down with you. I know we're both based in LA, and it's unfortunate that we can't be in person, but I think technology is on our side and we're blessed that we could even do this. So thank you so much for being here.
I'm so excited to chat, Erica.
Thank you. Well, I know probably so many people have heard of you, whether it be through isagenix or just you as a powerful motivational speaker. I think they've heard your name. So for those that aren't familiar with you, I would love if you could share kind of what brought you into creating the life that you have today on your terms, and where did it really stem from? What's the beginning, let's say?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for that. And yeah, it's a journey, right? And it's been a quick journey. No, I'm just kidding. It's been a long journey, 10 years. In fact, I started network marketing when I was 23. At the time, I lived in Minnesota and I was in my early 20s. I was working as a massage therapist, rehabbing major weight loss patients. I was nannying 4 boys on the side. I started to just feel completely like I was living my life not on purpose. I felt like I was that hamster on a hamster wheel and I was just going through the motions, right? And I got into fitness competing in the Fitness America circuit for a year. And that was like a passion thing that led me to falling in love with health and wellness, which led me to finding my network marketing company, which is health and wellness based. But at that time in my life, I had never read a personal development book. I was a massage therapist. That's what I went to school for. And, I grew up with a single mom, and where I was always taught money doesn't grow on trees. And, I thought that I was doing the best that I could, and that there really wasn't, another arena for me to play in until I met my mentor who introduced me to network marketing. And I said yes to it. And I knew like this wasn't going to be an overnight thing. This was going to take a lot of work, a lot of learning new skills, but I dove in. And at that time in that year, I replaced my income of working multiple jobs. I made 6 figures by the time I was 24 and my first million by the time I was 26. And now, 10 years in, and it's so funny because I'm looking at the Pacific Ocean here today as Eric and I are, as we're talking, and it's like, this was once on my vision board, and every step that I've gone in my life has been on my vision board. First, I just wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to, dictate and decide my days and not have someone else do it for me. But now, living, 10 years in and doing, I still do network marketing, but I'm also doing a lot of other things. I've got my hands in lots of different baskets, and I'm just living life on my terms and just trying to make an impact the best way I can. And so it's a little bit of my backstory.
Perfect. Well, I think a lot of people, because you've been titled as, the top income earner of isagenix, and you're a millionaire, you have residual income of millions, that are coming in every year. And a lot of people will look at that and think that was easy. And that's not normally the case unless it's handed to you. And I know there's a lot of hard work that came with that. So you mentioned you met your mentor, and that's kind of where it began. So I'm curious, how did that really look like when you started being mentored and introduced to this company? What did you start to implement into your life that was different from before?
Yeah, such a good question. And, the thing with me is I said to her, I want to go all in, and if you're looking at this type of business, or if you don't even really understand it, a lot of people do it to make a couple extra hundred a month or week, right? I was somebody that said, no, I want to go all in. I want to do this full time. And so with that being said, she told me, hey, I match energy for energy. So if you're committed to this, I'll be committed to you. But the minute that you're down and out, the minute that you get the squirrel syndrome and you start hopping around, like, I'm out, I'm not mentoring you anymore. And I was like, she was 10 years older than me. And, she was someone I really respected. She was in mortgage banking in the last crash in the US. She got laid off, got her severance. And that's when she decided to go all in with network marketing. And so I just knew, like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it. And I need to go all in, because nothing great happens when you just only dip your big toe in the water. You got a cannonball. And my gosh, we ended up moving in with each other in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. And I didn't really have a lot to my name. I had a mattress on the floor. I had a corner makeshift bedroom. She gave me her old desk. I made my first vision board. I wrote out my list of contacts. She handed me this old hand-me-down book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And she's like, all right, here we go. And I'm like, wow. I know. And that year, I mean, seriously, I wanted to quit 20 times over again. I mean, I wish so badly that I had a video camera on what it really takes, because it was like day in and day out, like, okay, what am I going to do today? Who am I going to contact today? I call it going for no, like just trying to get people to learn what I'm doing, and just even to get people to listen to the presentation, is a skill set, the skill of inviting, no matter what you're selling, whether you're selling a program, whether you're selling a car, whether you're selling a house, like just to get people to listen to you and trust you is one thing, So that's what I went through the first year. The first 2 years was just like going to local BNI Chamber of Commerce meetings, going and meeting people. I had like 900 Facebook friends. I didn't have an Instagram at all. I didn't have an Instagram following. No. And it was all just like, who do I know? And if they're not interested, well, who do they know? And it was just learning how to build a network. And that's something I didn't know before.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And I think that you touched on one thing, that how hard it was and how many times you wanted to quit. And I want to highlight that, because I think that is one important thing, is what made you not quit. And I think that people talk about, like, have this vision and have this compelling why of what's the reason you're doing things. And that's what keeps you in it. And another thing is the fact that you said, I'm going full in, like almost like, no matter what, I'm going to make this happen because I want to commit fully to it. And I think that's deciding is such an important step, is deciding, like, that's what you wanted. Some people, like you said, when you do network, I don't know a whole lot about network marketing, which I'll learn from you right here. But a lot of people do want just maybe a little extra income, especially
Right.
during these times. We need multiple streams of income because one could be
Amen.
taken like that.
Yes.
But you decided that you wanted to go full in, which is a big
Yes.
commitment because you basically are, saying no to everything else so you could fully commit. But what was the reason that you
Mm.
didn't quit?
Oh, so good. Yeah, I call it burning the ships. You got to burn, we got to burn the ships. Like there is no way out, you know? But the reason I didn't quit is because I would continually ask myself, if I don't pursue this, then what will I pursue that actually lights my soul on fire? Like, if not this, then what? And, that's why I think it's so important to make a vision board and have your visions, out there where you can see them every single day, because you're not going to feel like doing it every single day. You're going to have someone say something to you that hurts your feelings. You're going to be faced with rejection, whether it's from yourself and your limiting beliefs or somebody else. And so every single day, I'd have to look in the mirror. I still look in the mirror and ask myself, what do I want from this life? How do I want to show up? And why is it important to me? And, for me, really in the beginning stages, when I needed money, like, I'm just going to be honest with you, I wasn't this big, like, let's have a purpose, let's have a dream. I was like, no, I need to eat and I need to pay my, let's just call it like it is. And, for me, I would just think about it though. And I'm like, I want so badly to have my own business. I want to actually succeed at this. And, that drove me. It drove me to just to do it, because I would always ask, like, if I don't do this, then what will I do? And I didn't want to spend the rest of my life commuting to my job that I hated. And I didn't want to spend the rest of my life making decisions around, money. If I didn't have enough money, I want a life that, if I want to go see my mom, I can get a first class ticket right here, right now. If I want to contribute and a friend is in need or somebody out there, I can contribute. If I want to, go sit front row at a concert or a Tony Robbins event or whatever, like, I can do it. And I don't have to let money be the deciding factor for me. And those are the things that drove me, because we get this one shot at life. And,
Totally.
It's like, I had experienced death in my life at a young age, from losing a stepmom to, I had a brother who passed, and, I just know how short life can be and how fragile it can be. And I just want to live it, like, to the fullest.
And they say death is the greatest teacher. And I think you could probably relate to that, because that little reality check is like, oh, no, I have my life to live. I'm going to live it the best I can. So when you had your mentor, what were some of the things she made sure to implement into you immediately? Like, what were the essential tools you needed to implement to start this off the correct way?
Yeah, setting it up as a business. I think no matter what you do, whether you're selling stuff on Etsy, whether you're, just got your realtor license, whether you're becoming a life coach, it doesn't matter what we do. Like, we got to set it up as a business. And if you treat it like a business, it'll pay you like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to end up costing you, right? And so that was the initial thing with her. And then this is what I think separates me from a lot of other network marketers, is when I started, I actually had hours of operation. And, all of us as entrepreneurs, like, how easy is it for your girlfriend to just be like, hey, can I come over? Do you want to go do this? Do you want to go do that? And it cuts into your work day, and you're not actually getting the things done that move your business forward. And it's very easy to just get by being an entrepreneur. And that's very miserable. It's so miserable not taking that action. And so she really taught me, number one, how to set it up as a business, with having contacts, with the right materials, the right tools, the whole thing, hours of operation, all that good stuff. And then the thing that she really did, and that I've continued to duplicate down, is we got into action right away. And I always tell people, you can earn as you learn, and activity is the greatest teacher. And that is truly something we did. The first day I got started in the business, she said, who do you know that's interested in this? And I said, this woman, she's in Wisconsin. She has 4 boys. I think she's interested. And she's like, will she listen to us? And I go, I got her to listen to us. And so then step one, right then and there, we set up at that time, it was a call, and I listened to my mentor and I took notes and listened to the way, she opened it up and took interest in the other person on the other end of the phone. And I listened to the way she pitched the plan. And I even listened to the way she closed her. And it was like, boom, like that's what I needed. And we just kept doing that, Erica, like repetition. And then, it got to the point where my mentor was like, hey, like, you need to do half the meeting now, or I want to watch you close the meeting, or I want to watch you, do this on your own. And that's the thing is meetings make money no matter what you do. Conversations make money, right? And so that's what we did, is we kept the main thing. And that's how we move forward. We didn't just like read books or listen to things constantly. We got into action.
Yeah. And I think what's also important is you had somebody to model. Like, she was leading the way for you, obviously already successful in it, and introduce you. Very fortunate to have somebody like that to introduce it to you and kind of lead the way. But you happen to be a great student. And I think that's super important, is if you have somebody to model. I'm sure a lot of us, in anything we want to pursue, there's somebody that you could look up to, but you have to be a good student. And I think that's super important, because if you're not willing to be a student and be coached, I think then you can't take all the goodness that's being served to you.
Amen.
Like she said to you, she's like, if you're not fully in, you're not my person.
Yeah. And, such a valid point. And I remember overhearing her on the phone. She was 33, I was 23. And a person that she used to work with in mortgage banking was like, I can't believe you're running around with this 23-year-old. Like, are you sure? And I remember, her name's Holly. She said to him, she is coachable, and she is hungry, and she has influence. Until she shows me something else, I'm going to help her. And hearing that, I was like, okay, game on, and that's the thing. And sometimes if you're listening and you're like, gosh, I wish, my mentor would take me a little bit more seriously. Like, you have to rise to the occasion, and that's even now when I look for people to work with, I'm like, I'm not coming over to babysit you. I'm not gonna no, I asked her, she answered. We danced together. It's a dance. And that's why it worked so well.
That's amazing. And it seems like you were asking also smart questions to get good answers. Or smart answers, which I think is super important as well, because the only way to learn is by asking smart questions, right? Yeah, that's amazing. And so for somebody that, like I mentioned, these times today, people have lost a source of income. And I think all of us need multiple sources of income, because anything could happen, as we just witnessed over the last year. If somebody is really trying to figure it out, and let's say they're open to network marketing, but they have this perception network marketing is either a pyramid scheme, or it is, like, I only want to make a little, so I want to dabble in it, or I want to go full in, but what do I need to do to actually fully commit? What would you say to that person's like, okay, I want more income, but how do I begin?
Yeah, which it is so normal to have all these thoughts about it. It's like when you don't know the intricate details of something, we make assumptions. And I will first tell you that network marketing has changed immensely in the past decade. The world has changed. I mean, we see digital, everything is on our phones. I mean, we're wiping out jobs because of robots, right? And a rising tide lifts all boats. I believe that's a quote by one of the JF Kennedy, I believe. And it's so true. And I've been saying this for years, knowing the economic trends and how things are changing. You need to have an income that's growing on the side, I believe, whether it's an investment, real estate, network marketing, just something. And this year has taught us that for sure. But I would say look at what industry you want to get involved in. I mean, the network marketing industry does $331 billion a year worldwide. And, you know, I bet we could go into your pantry right now or go into your guys' houses, and I'd probably find a product that you blessed somebody's home with by buying it from them. You know, whether it's skincare, Tupperware, makeup, maybe it's a service provider, like, you know, some people don't even realize that they're buying a network marketing product. But I would first look at, you know, what market do you want to get into? Is it beauty? Is it health and wellness? Is it finance, right? And then do your research on the different companies. And just so you know, not all companies are created equal. Most of them, you know, don't make it past their first year. So you want something with a great track record, and you want something that has similar values that you have. Yes, you know, companies have cultures. They really do. And it's really important. And this is the part, Erica, that I feel bad sometimes, because I don't think people really realize, like, when they join someone, they buy from a girlfriend, they don't really realize, like, you're essentially partnering with someone in business if you decide to do the business. And sometimes it falls on people's lap, and which is a good thing. But if you really want it as a business, you got to look at that stuff and play the long game, the infinite game, I call it. So, you know, if you are someone listening thinking, gosh, is this a pyramid thing? No, like, it'd be illegal. I wouldn't be standing where I am today if it was, you know, illegal, right? We're trading a product, right, for a commissionable value. So that's why it's not, you know, like, if I was just sitting here saying, join me, and then you get people to join, but I wasn't actually, you know, giving someone a product, well, yeah, then that would be problematic, right? But that's just not the case. We get paid on, you know, getting customers started and then helping them do the same. And, you know, and I always tell people, and I tell my own organization this, I'm like, whatever you want to do with this is entirely up to you. We're going to love you and support you always through it all. You may be here to grow as a human being. You may be here to get healthy. But if you want to make big money, then you got to play at a bigger game. But if you are like the majority of the people that want to pay their mortgage, want to pay rent, that's a beautiful thing too. And you can do it an hour a day. And it's whatever you make of it. And that's the beautiful part about it. I was mentoring a woman, a single mom, and she has 3 kids. And she said, Emily, I need to make more money. So I'm going to get, you know, a daycare provider, and I'm going to get a second job. And I said, okay, her name's Shannon. And I said, I commend you for that because you're taking action. But I go, can I ask, how much is it actually going to cost for you to get a daycare provider for your 3 kids? And how much you're going to actually make at your job? Figure that out and get back to me. And she was like, I'm literally going to make $100 extra.
Wow.
And I was like, woman, how about you put the kids to bed and I can teach you how to make money while they're sleeping, and you can be in their life and not have someone else raise them. And that's just, it's a shift for people in mindset, right? Because we're taught to work for somebody else and trade time for money. But this is really, it's a different business. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
Absolutely. And I think another thing you touched on is there's another element of doing this, like working for yourself and, you know, working hard and building a substantial income, is the personal development aspect of it. And I think this is what I've heard a lot through a lot of network marketing companies, especially isagenix, because it is health and fitness, is there's a personal development side of it, which is beautiful. I am super passionate about that. And I would love it if you could touch on what has it served you in your life? I mean, tremendous things, yeah. I'm sure, but on the personal development aspect.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't be standing here with you today if it wasn't for that. It's one of our core values at isagenix is personal excellence, personal development, personal growth. And it's a part of what we do. And it's not just sales. It's about becoming better. And everything rises and falls on leadership. And our owners, that is something they've instilled in us. Like when I started, it's very easy as people to blame people for your lack of success, complain about things, justify why you're not taking action. And one of the Kathy Coover, she wrote the book Resilient. It's a great book, by the way, for any entrepreneur. But she, told me, she was like, if you can't be grateful for the small things, like why would you expect or, deserve to even be put in the big spots of life? If you can't be grateful for the pillow that you're sleeping on at night, like why on earth would you expect God to give you more? And so I started to learn, how to have an attitude of gratitude. I mean, she taught me, hey, every day you wake up, text 3 people and tell them why you're grateful for them and start your day that way. And, simple little things like that. But then also throughout our trainings, we've always brought in, Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, just so many great thought leaders in our company, but even in the industry. I mean, last month, I was able to speak with some of the giants in the industry. Sylvester Stallone, huge in entrepreneurship, and I've spoken with Richard Branson. I mean, I could go on with some of these just legends, but that's what it's all about is that growth and development, and it's the culture that you get in. So it's like, you're not only just learning all this new stuff, but you're around like-minded people that are also learning the stuff. And I wouldn't have the friends I have. I wouldn't have learned different things about people in different age groups. I mean, I've traveled the world to South Korea, I've been to Cambodia. I've been all around the globe. And that in itself is personal development,
Absolutely. Yes.
So there's so many benefits to it. I mean, it's just beyond.
And also another aspect, I believe confidence is a muscle that we continually build. And I think to do what you do, you have to have a sense of confidence to do it. So I'm curious, when you were if you could bring yourself back to 10 years ago, when you were first starting, did you already have this confidence, or was it just you had the right mentor and she instilled confidence, like helped you build your confidence then?
Yeah. It's
or
like
what do you do to build your confidence too?
Yes. So, confidence and taking action, they're higher frequency emotions. And when we compare ourselves, we live in fear. When we're bored, those are all lower frequency emotions. And so what I would always do, and what I continue to do, is do something that's going to move me forward. And it plays off of each other. So it's like, if I want to have more confidence, I do something, Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I take action, and that's going to piggyback on the next thing. And so in the beginning, I kind of faked it a little bit. Like I think, I didn't have all the confidence that it probably looked like I had, but I went into everything with like, be in this moment now and do the best you can. And
I love that.
Yeah, ask questions, and it's okay if you don't know everything. I mean, my gosh, even still today, people ask me stuff and I'm like, oh, let me find out for you. I'm not sure, and
Yeah.
that's okay. And I think sometimes we feel like we have to know everything, and that's what prevents us from taking action in the first place. It's like, think of whatever you do right now, all of our listeners, like, what do you do right now? How long did it take you to get good at that? If you're in photography, like, you had to just say, I'm a photographer. If you're in network marketing, you just have to say, I'm a network marketer. In this space, I'm a success coach, right? It's not about when you get the 100th client. You're never going to get the 100th client if you don't proclaim this is what you do. And so I started to do that early on. And, I would say I am a millionaire with this company long before I even made 6 figures, right? And I would just act as if, and that alone breeds confidence, because it's your expectation. God will meet you at your level of expectation. And it's like, I think people just don't expect greatness enough. So they get the bottom line. They get the bottom line results because they don't expect big. Like, I expect big. And I was just in a meeting this morning with my team, and I said, guys, like, we're not even scratching the surface what this year is going to be. And, I'm like, I have the utmost certainty that we're going to change the game and do monumental things this year. And they were all like, and I'm like, yeah, that's what's up, because I expect it, you know? So I think that, you know, but back to, you know, what breeds confidence is action. That's what's going to help you. That's what's going to, it's like working out, working your muscles, you know, it's not another book. That's a quick dopamine hit that's going to make you feel good. What's going to actually move you forward is doing the thing that you don't want to do.
Yeah, I am such a big component for stepping outside your comfort zone. That's the only way to grow, only way to show yourself what you're capable of. And to, you know, like you said, just dive right in and then learn along the way. I'm really big on that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I was going to say, sorry, I just went blank, but all these good things. But anyways, so another thing, the I totally just went blank. Um, if you were to tell like your old self one thing that you know now, what would it be?
Oh,
Like
ooh.
one big piece of advice you would want to share to your old self that just wasn't really sure what she was doing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a really good question. You know, for me, for a long time, I got so caught up in the noise of like reacting to everything. And I didn't respect myself and my time and my peace of mind like I should. And what I mean by that is like other people's agendas were above me and still can be if I don't set massive parameters and guidelines around it. And the secret to all of our unique talents and really being true to our essence and our core is having more silence in our lives and spending more time with our creator and thinking about the things that you're thinking about. And for a while early in my career, I was so busy reacting and going and going and going that it's like I just woke up one day and I was like, who am I?
Mm.
And yes, I'm doing things with the right intention, but am I really living my life on purpose? Am I really showing up in embodying all the things God put in my heart and soul? And it's impossible to do that if you're not quiet, if you're not spending time by yourself, if you're not really thinking about those things that excite you. And the minute I started to do that and continually practice that, that's when I became more in love with myself. That's when I became comfortable with myself. That's when I started to trust myself and my decisions and what I say and how I say it. And that's when I feel called and more anointed, honestly, versus like it just gets, I'm sure, Erica, you can relate. Like it gets noisy and you get bogged down and
Burnt out then.
burnt out. And that is,
Yeah.
you know, not the place to be. And you start copying everybody else because you're like, well, they did it this way, so maybe I'll do it that way. And you're like, you're not creative at all. And so anyways, I became creative, and I still to this day, my greatest ideas, my greatest talks, my greatest breakthroughs are when I have boundaries in my life.
Oh, boundaries are so important. That is one thing that I learned over this COVID is how important I need boundaries around myself, meaning like what I do in my morning routine. My morning routine is so precious because that's the time for me to start me off on the right foot. And I think that's so important. And I love that you brought out connecting with yourself and actually having that peace, because I think that is one of the most important things. I'm starting my meditation practice this year, and it's like a must for me because this is a gift I'm giving myself for peace.
Yeah.
And being able to hear myself amongst the noise, even if they're, you know, not going out as much, I still have noise in my head, right?
I know.
So I think it's so important that you pull that out, and
Yeah.
it really starts to see your vision more clear when you start to do that. And I know you mentioned also the vision board. So I want to pull that out because I think that's something important that you share and why it works so well for you. And what would you suggest for people to do if they wanted to create their own vision board? I'm sure a lot of people know what that is, but
Yeah.
why is that such a powerful tool?
Oh,
How?
I am obsessed. I could sell anybody a vision board, and I think I have such a emotional attachment to it because when I found out that I could actually design my life and I didn't have to live in my circumstances, the first thing I did was make a vision board. And even though I was like, this is fruity, I literally thought it was fruity. I was like, what are we doing? But okay, my mentor says to do it. But really, a vision board is a board that you have. You can have it in your office, your kitchen, wherever. Some people have notebooks, some people have it digitally, but it's all, pictures, text, ideas that you desire, and you're bringing it to life. You're putting it on a board and where you can see it every single day to remind you of what it is that you want. And so you need a board, like we all do. We have to have intention. Otherwise, we're just going to float through life. And, when I made my first board, I had on there, like, be my own boss. I had on there the exact amount of money I wanted to make. I had on there, I wanted to get my hair professionally blow dried because I have a lot of hair. And I was like, I would love to just go there once a week and I can answer I would just love that. And, I had on there like, Whole Foods, all organic food. I didn't have money at the time. So it was like going to Whole Foods was like a big, that was like a big deal to me. And then as I progressed in life, I've had on there where I live. I've had, every car I've owned, I had on there a school that I wanted to contribute to and really work with in Africa, like that, all the things. And so what I recommend is everybody, before you just go to the grocery store and grab some magazines, because that's not the way to do it. And a lot of people do that. They're like, well, what magazines do I have? Oh, I like this picture. Let me just cut this picture of the ocean. Well, what ocean is it? Right. So I recommend grabbing a notebook and writing down all the areas of your life. Write down, lifestyle, write down your business, right? If you're have a business, you work in a business, write down relationships, write down health, all the different areas, and brain dump in those specific areas. What do you want from them? What do you need to focus on more in those specific areas and crystallize it? Right? Like maybe, you're listening to this and you're a woman right now and you're like, man, I feel like I don't have any female relationships that truly support me. Maybe you feel like an alien. I get it, trust me. And you just feel like everything is so superficial. Well, maybe, your intention is to have 2 meaningful relationships. And how does that look to you? What do those relationships look like to you? Maybe it's the home you live in and you've wanted to remodel the kitchen for years. Well, what do you want the kitchen to look like? Maybe it's your health, right? Maybe, forever I had just a fit picture of a woman doing, a yoga pose. And, for me, that just reminded me as I travel, no matter where I go in the world, I want to stay fit and healthy. And I'm not going to let being a boss and having a rigorous schedule tear me down. I'm going to actually make it more of an intention and a priority. And, so every area of your life, and then you go to Google and Google what you want on the board. And so this is what I do. I literally do this, Erica, like once a quarter. And I send all the photos in and I go FedEx Kinko's, I go pick up the photos. Then I put it on the board. And then every single day when I do my morning routine and I'm drinking my cup of coffee, I stare in front of my board and I just look at all the stuff. Sometimes I even touch it, and I'm manifesting things into reality. And I'm realizing that's right. There was a specific business goal here. How are we working on that? And I don't just put this picture of a car up or something like that, or have a revenue goal for my business. I then reverse engineer it. And I say, okay, well, if I want this much income this year, what do I need to do to get there? And it causes your brain to then put it into bite-sized chunks, into quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals. Because if I stand there every day and look at it and I didn't really do anything to bring me closer to any of this, then I'm really not moving my life forward. So again, it's all about that intention. And I have like baggies, like Ziploc baggies of all the things that have come to pass.
That's amazing. I love that. Wow. So
Yeah.
you get to celebrate your little wins. That's so perfect. Or big wins. I
Yeah.
love that process. I know that you could Google the images and everything, but I haven't actually done that because I think people want to do the simplistic things. But I love how you say that through the process, you're gaining clarity over what you want. And just in that, you're starting to manifest it. I think you're starting to embody what
Yes.
you want and feel the feels, right? So
Oh,
I think that's beautiful.
yeah. And
And
some of
it,
the things you realize, Erica, that you don't really want. Like there,
true.
that's why we got to update it. Cause you may think of something and you're like, do I really want that though? Like, what does that mean? And again, it's like we're always evolving and always changing. And that's why I think it's important to like update it more than once a year. I'm just going to be honest.
That's perfect. And I just have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
So I know being an entrepreneur, especially a female entrepreneur that is hustling and, really creating the life you want and success and everything, how do you stay in balance with your feminine and masculine?
Oh, honey, that is such a good question because
I
when,
need that answer from
yeah,
you.
yeah, because so when I'm so glad you said this because when I wasn't giving myself time and I was just like a machine and I wore that as a badge of honor, like, oh, I'm a boss and all I do is work. That's when
Hmm.
I was so masculine and I forgot who I was. But when I come back to my spiritual life, when I, I do workouts that are very feminine. I
Mm.
dress feminine. I, you know, really try to speak from my heart, which is feminine, right? Don't get me wrong, I can quickly go masculine on you in a second, but I really try to do those feminine type of things that make me a woman. And I also found that it's super important to have girlfriends that are also, similar and that we can talk about female stuff with that maybe women feel ashamed to talk about, right? And so like that has been really huge for me as well. But having the balance, and it's like you're always kind of oscillating between, having authority, but having authority being feminine is totally possible. And you don't have to be like some, rah, 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 rah,
Get up
with
and
your,
go.
yeah, no. And I can totally be like that. I can hang with the bros, but like, I believe like my true essence, and if you're a female, like that feminine nature in leadership, in entrepreneurship, we need that so bad. And, there's been a lot of events I've spoken at with like 20,000 people, 40,000 people, and it was me and two other women speakers and 15 men. And I'm like, what in the heck,
Yeah.
And I asked one of the people that was, helping conduct the event. I'm like, why is it me and two other women? And he just said the guys are getting the job done and on a massive scale. And I was like, okay, I have a problem with that. And I'm like, why is that? I don't get it. And I think it comes back to, not taking yourself as serious, to be honest, not guarding your time, which those kind of things can be a little bit more masculine traits, right? Saying no, like saying no to things, having that ultra disciplined focus. I feel like a lot of times, a lot of women I work with can be like butterfly squirrels. Like I'm like, honey, dial it in, dial it in. But it is possible. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent right now, but
No, it's great.
it's so possible to be in both. And during the day, like sometimes during the day, like I will be more masculine because I have to be. I'm sitting in meetings, I'm making decisions, but I try to end my day with a bath. I try to like do things that are more feminine to kind of bring me back into that essence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually felt called to ask you this question today because I felt today, because I'm kind of, I'm a doer. I get things done. I'm
Yes.
pretty disciplined when it comes to that. But I was thinking in my head today, I'm like, I think I need to like take a bath, like take a bath and just read. And, now that nail salons are open, go get my nails done.
I know.
And yeah, so I think it's important for us women that want to, have this dynamic life and create our own success, be a boss, whatever it may be. I think it's great to recognize that we need to have that balance so we don't burn out, because it can happen very easy for an entrepreneur. So I think it's important. So I felt called to ask you that today. I thought you could answer that really well.
It is such a good question. And yeah, I embrace everything that I love, all the girly stuff I love. It's just so important. And I also think like movement in your body can also bring you back to that feminine nature as well.
Absolutely. And just a last question, like what are your success must-dos and do-nots?
Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay. So must do's. I mean, definitely getting clear on whatever it is that I'm wanting to do. And again, the vision board and all that stuff helps, but like having meetings with myself and brain dumping and assessing, am I on the right track? And I truly believe this little habit that I have implemented the last decade. That's why I've continued to move forward, because I'm just so intentional about my life. I don't just randomly live it. And every yes, there's a reason I say yes, and every no, there's a reason I say no. And it's just crystallizing that for sure. And that's how I am successful. I mean, for sure. And being okay with saying no. That's huge for being successful. What else is where my energy goes? My frequency is everything to me. I have a big mission on this earth. And if I spend time or I'm in places that have a lower vibration, it really does affect me. It affects my work. It affects everything. And so, if someone invites me to Cabo to go to a 4-day weekend when the group of people aren't living their life on purpose, they get drunk, wasted all the time, but it could be fun for Instagram and whatever, I'm going to say no to that, and it's making decisions like that repeatedly that has helped make me really successful. It's like, I remember early in my career, like people were partying a lot, and there's nothing, if that's your thing, that's your thing, but it's not mine. And I'm a high performer. And I know, Erica and I are both very into biohacking. We're both high performers. And it's like, I train, like, I like to have the mindset of Tom Brady, like in everything I do. And it's not for everybody, but not everybody wants greatness in their life. But for the people that do, like, you'll very rarely see me staring at the TV unless I'm watching something that I might learn something from, right? Like, or a film, of course I do that, but I don't sit and watch TV a lot. I don't sit, ever and gossip and I don't. Like, there's just trade-offs that I've decided to make to live a very intentional life. And again, it's not for everyone, but that's where I'm at. And, my health is everything to me. It's really hard for me to sit and listen to an overweight multimillionaire who looks like they're going to fall over. Like, I remember one time being at
it seems like a misalignment almost, right?
Yes. And I was at a convention one time and I was like, what is going on? I can't listen to you. And I don't mean that in a vain, mean way. I just meant like, I literally cannot listen to you talk, because how are you're telling people to like live this vibrant, crazy good life when you're not living it yourself. And it's out of alignment. And for me, like, my health is number one. And yeah, the time we're recording this, it's during COVID, but normally I'm on planes a lot. I'm in hotels a lot. like I am serving a lot. And even then, like I'll exit the party at 11 p.m. I'm not the girl that's going to stay out till 3 a.m. with the rest of maybe my team or partners. I'm going to, get Amazon Prime when I get to the hotel. I'm going to get up for priming in the morning. I'm going to get my workout in. Like there's just certain things I do to live a high vibration life. And that is what I think has helped make me so successful, honestly. So.
Yes, I completely agree. Oh my gosh. I call it conscious yeses and conscious
Ooh.
nos. Just
Ooh.
because whatever you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. So you do, I think, and I love how you call it intentional living. I think that is so powerful. Just that statement alone is you're living your life with intention. You're choosing how you want to show up for life. So
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. This has been so amazing. And I know like there's a whole nother topic that we could go into with you, of course, with network marketing, but to learn more about you, where could people best find you?
Yeah, just Instagram I love at It's Emily. Okay, so that's where it's at there. Facebook, and then itsemily.com.
Yeah. And to learn more about isagenix, of course, we'll plug everything in the show notes. A lot of people have been hearing about the recent release of the collagen elixir from isagenix, which Emily is actually a part of the birth of that, which is absolutely incredible. So I want people to find out more about that, but we'll put this all in the show notes. You are such a gem. I'm so happy to share this space with you. What an honor. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.